We humans sometimes are a bit too confident about how we understand the world. We think our eyes tell us everything, right? If we can see it, we think we know it. But today, I came across a book that really shattered that idea for me. This book is called Being a Dog by Alexandra Horowitz. In this book, she talks about all kinds of fascinating habits dogs have. Some of them we kind of knew already, and some of them we had no idea. We all know dogs have amazing noses. That's not news. People always say a dog's sense of smell is 1,000 times stronger than a human's. I never really knew how they measure that, but everyone agrees on one thing: their nose is way more sensitive than ours. The basic explanation I'd heard before was pretty simple. Dogs have way more olfactory receptor cells than we do. So even a tiny number of odor molecules at a level we can't feel at all, dogs can pick up easily. That part is true. But what I didn't know is this: it's not just that dogs can detect very faint smells. It's also that they can sense many kinds of smells that we humans don't even notice. For example, the smell of the air in the morning versus the smell of the air in the afternoon. You and I might think, come on, air just smells like air. It's the same. That's only because we don't need to tell the difference. So our brain just labels it all as air, and that's it. Drops down. In fact, morning and afternoon air are different. The humidity is different. The plants, trees, soil, even other materials around us release slightly different scents as time passes. As the sunlight changes, as the temperature rises and falls, all these tiny shifts in the environment create a change in the smell of the air. And dogs can pick that up. So, why do dogs need such a powerful nose? A lot of people used to think it was just for hunting and avoiding predators. But the truth is more complex. For dogs, smell is their main way of understanding the world. Cognitive scientists say humans get something like 80% of our information about the world through our eyes. Vision is human beings' primary sense. For dogs, on the other hand, it's the nose. So, if we look at dogs using a human point of view, we will misunderstand them. Yes, they have eyes and noses just like we do. Eyes see, noses smell. But for dogs, these sensory organs play very different roles. Dogs are not as good as humans at processing visual information. Even when they see more visual patterns or objects, their brain doesn't handle them the way ours does. For example, when we see the sun rising in the east, we know it's morning. When it's directly overhead, we know it's noon or midday. When the sun is in the west, we know it's afternoon. Dogs see the sun too, but they don't really use that information to tell time. Their brain just doesn't process those visual cues in the same way. Their solutions, they smell time. The changing scent of the air, the environment, that's their clock. I remember reading this story a long time ago. This dog is carrying a piece of meat in its mouth, walks to a river, and sees a dog in the water also holding a piece of meat. It opens its mouth to snatch that other dog's meat. And of course, its own meat falls into the water and disappears. According to Horowitz, this is not just a cute story. Dogs really are bad at recognizing themselves visually. They don't rely on sight for identity. Scientists and researchers use something called the mirror test to measure self awareness in mammals. The idea is simple. You let a person or an animal stand in front of a mirror and say if they can recognize themselves. The experimenter will put a mark on the subject's face, like a red dot, and then let them see themselves in the mirror. If they realize, hey, that mark is on me, and try to touch it or check it, they pass the test. Second step, if experimenter remove the mark and they still understand that the reflection is themselves, that's another level of self-recognition. 2 years old human babies usually fail this test. Among animals, chimpanzees can pass the test. Elephants definitely cannot. Dogs, in terms of intelligence, are often considered somewhere between elephants and chimps. So, can dogs pass? Sadly, no. Dogs fail the mirror test. Once the experimenter wipe off the mark on their face, they basically have no idea that the image in the mirror is themselves. Now, if a dog owner hears this, they might say, that's nonsense. My dog knows everyone in the family. He even recognizes a lot of people outside the house. And that's true. Dogs absolutely can recognize people. But here's the key, they don't rely on their eyes to do it, they rely on their noses. I once read a science article that said, in a dog's eyes, humans look kind of like them, like creatures with dark noses and floppy ears. That article didn't go very deep into the explanation, but after this book, it makes sense to me. Dogs just aren't very good at telling individuals apart by appearance alone. Their visual system is not tuned for that. That they are extremely good at is telling individuals apart by smell. This also explains some dog behaviors that used to confuse me. When a dog meets a stranger, it often pushes its nose into their leg or their body and it takes a very serious sniff. That's how the dog meets a new person. We remember people by faces, dogs remember people by their scent. This book also says we humans can see a storm forming hundreds of meters away. Dogs, on the other hand, smell storms. They can smell a storm from more than 10 kilometers away by using the similar principle when they telling times. The air pressure, the moisture, all of that changes the scent of the world long before we see dark clouds. Reading all this, I started thinking because we humans developed such strong visual processing, we stopped needing our other sense to be so sensitive. So our noses are nowhere near dogs. Our ears are nowhere near dolphins or baits. In a strange way, nature feels kind of fair. It gives every creature some special abilities, some talents, and at the same time, it takes away something else. From the differences between dogs and humans, my mind went naturally to the differences between humans and humans. Every person is different. Each of us has our own strengths and unavoidably our own weaknesses. Some people are a bit more intelligent. Some have artistic talents. Some are physically more fit. If we can genuinely accept and face these differences, then our job is not to pretend everyone is the same. Our job is to appreciate the unique gifts we've been given and to build on our strengths instead of obsessing only about fixing every weakness. We clearly are not going to spend years training ourselves to smell like a dog. And we are probably not going to train a dog to process images like a human. Both ideas sound ridiculous. In the same way, we don't need to force ourselves to copy some other person's pattern and lose our own identity. And we shouldn't force our pattern onto others either. We can't say, because I can do this, you must be able to do it too. And we also shouldn't say, because I can't do this, you shouldn't be able to do it either. Life doesn't work like that. If we go a little bit deeper, even when people are looking at the exact same thing, they can be using completely different methods to make sense of it. Some of us rely on intuition, some of us rely on rational analysis. These are just different ways of sensing and understanding the world. There isn't one method that is absolutely correct for every situation. If we usually say white is beautiful, maybe we should try to be a bit more generous towards black too. It's the same with opinions and perspectives. We all know people who are super kind to cats and dogs, very compassionate to animals. But when it comes to other humans, we hold different opinions. Suddenly, that kindness disappears. There's no tolerance at all. I remember someone give this example that really stuck with me. A group of people run a marathon together. Near the finish line, there is a stand where runners can get free donuts. Because it's free, of course, a lot of people line up to get one. The person telling the story and his friend both finish the race, walk to the finish area, and see this free donut stand. He says to his friend, "Hey, look, free donuts. Let's go get one." His friend looks at the long line and just doesn't want to move. His friend says, "The line is too long. I don't care about the donuts." The storyteller insists, "But it's free donuts." His friend still says, I don't care. It's not worth standing in the line. Same situation, same donuts, same location, but two people had completely different reaction. To me, that's a perfect example. People can look at the same thing and have different interruptions and ideas. Of course, different reaction to it. So let me ask you this. Have you ever expected someone else to say things exactly the way you do, or judge yourself because you couldn't do things that came easily to someone else? I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Maybe your story will help someone else be a little more kind to dogs, to other person, and also to themselves. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.